My teen son chose his wealthy stepmom over me and wanted her to adopt him. She kicked him out, and now he's back because he heard about my new rich husband. Asterisk asterisk. 45F, never thought I would be writing this, but here I am. I need to get this off my chest because it's eating me alive. I was married to my ex-husband, Henry 46M, for 15 years before we got divorced. We met in college during our sophomore year. Henry was the charming guy everyone liked, and I fell head over heels for him. We started dating, and everything was perfect until I got pregnant with Bruce in our final year. Henry wasn't ready to be a father. He wanted me to consider other options, but I couldn't do it. We were young and in love, so we thought we could make it work. His parents pressured him to marry me since they were very traditional, and he agreed, though I could tell he wasn't happy about it. The first few years were actually good. Henry got a job at a small company as a junior executive, and I stayed home with Bruce. We lived in a small apartment, and though money was tight, we managed. Henry would come home and play with Bruce, and on weekends, we'd go to the park or visit our families. It felt like we were building the life we had dreamed of. Things started changing when Bruce turned 5. Henry got promoted and started spending more time at work. At first, I understood he was trying to provide for us, but soon work became his excuse for everything. He would come home late, sometimes past Bruce's bedtime. When Bruce would run to him excited to show a drawing or tell him about his day, Henry would just pat his head and say he was tired. Weekends that were once family time became golf days with colleagues or business lunches. Bruce would sit by the window waiting for his dad, but Henry rarely showed up when he promised. When Bruce was 7, I decided to go back to work. Our expenses were increasing, and Henry's salary, though good, wasn't enough. Plus, I was going crazy sitting at home alone all day after Bruce started school. Henry wasn't happy about it. He said it would reflect badly on him if people knew his wife had to work, but I knew I had to do something. I couldn't depend on someone who was becoming more and more distant. I got a job as an administrative assistant at a local firm. My mother, bless her heart, offered to help with Bruce after school. She would pick him up, help him with homework, and watch him until I got home. That's when everything really started falling apart. Henry became impossible to live with. If dinner wasn't ready when he came home, he would make snide comments about how his mother always had food on the table. If the house wasn't spotless, he would compare our home to his colleagues' wives who didn't work and could properly take care of their homes. He would openly tell Bruce how other kids got to spend more time with their moms because they didn't work. It was like he was trying to turn our son against me. The fighting got worse and worse. We would argue about everything: money, housework, parenting. Henry would yell about how I was neglecting our family for my job, conveniently forgetting that he was the one who was never home. Bruce would hide in his room during these fights, and it broke my heart. But I couldn't quit my job. I knew I needed financial independence. When Bruce was 12, I discovered that Henry was having an affair with Lillian, 35F, a wealthy client from his company. I found text messages on his phone when he forgot it at home one day. Instead of apologizing when confronted, Henry turned it around on me. He said I pushed him away by choosing to work and that I made him feel unimportant. He claimed that Lillian understood him better. It was like a knife to my heart, but deep down I knew our marriage had been over for a long time. The divorce was messy and bitter. Henry moved in with Lillian right after, and they got married within 6 months. That's when I started noticing changes in Bruce's behavior. Suddenly, my sweet, understanding son became obsessed with material things. Lillian came from old money and lived a lifestyle we could never afford. Their house was like something out of a magazine: 6 bedrooms, a pool, a home theater, the works. Every time Bruce came back from weekend visits, he would talk endlessly about their latest vacation or the expensive restaurants they went to. I tried explaining to Bruce that material things aren't everything, that love and family matter more. But at 12, all he could see was the glitter and glamour. He started asking for expensive clothes and the latest gadgets, things I couldn't afford on my salary. When I would say no, he would get angry and tell me how Lillian would buy these things for him. He started making excuses to spend more time at their house, even on my custody days. Henry encouraged this behavior, which made everything worse. He would tell Bruce that he could live with them full-time and have everything he wanted, but I knew the truth. One day, When I went to pick up Bruce, I overheard Lillian and Henry arguing in their kitchen. Lillian was saying she didn't want to raise someone else's teenage son, that it wasn't what she signed up for. She wanted to focus on her career and travel the world. That's when I realized why Henry kept telling Bruce to wait for the right time. He knew that time would never come. Things got worse when Bruce turned 16. He started talking about wanting Lillian to adopt him. He would say things like she was more of a mother to him than I ever was, how she understood him better. Every time he came home, he would compare me to Lillian, how she was more successful, more sophisticated, how she knew about wine and art and all the things I didn't. It broke my heart, but I kept trying to make him understand the truth. Last month, Bruce turned 19, and everything finally came to a head. He wanted a luxury car for his birthday. I had saved up $8,000 to buy him a reliable used car. It wasn't fancy, but it was safe and perfect for a first car. But Bruce refused to even look at it. He said Lillian had promised to buy him an expensive sports car if he moved in with them permanently. When I tried to explain that it wasn't a realistic offer, he got angry. I tried one last time to tell him the truth about Henry and Lillian. I told him about the conversation I had overheard, how they kept making excuses to delay his moving in, how Lillian had explicitly said she didn't want to raise him. Bruce got furious. He called me a liar and said I was just jealous of Lillian's success and the life they could provide him. He packed his bags and left, saying he never wanted to see me again. I called Henry afterward, hoping he would talk some sense into Bruce, but Henry just said Bruce was an adult and could make his own decisions. I could hear the relief in his voice. He wouldn't have to keep making excuses anymore. I haven't heard from Bruce since then. My mother says I should let him go and learn his lesson the hard way, but it's killing me watching my child make such a huge mistake. I don't know what to do anymore. A part of me wants to keep trying to make Bruce understand, but another part knows he needs to figure this out on his own. Am I wrong for not trying harder? Should I just let him learn the hard way? It's been almost 3 weeks since my last post. First, I want to thank everyone who commented and offered support. You all helped me realize that I needed to let Bruce make his own choices, even if those choices would hurt him. The day after Bruce left my house, I got a frantic call from Henry. He was furious, not at Bruce, but at me. He accused me of plotting against him and Lillian. I had no idea what he was talking about until he explained what happened. Apparently, Bruce had shown up at their house around midnight with all his belongings packed in his car. He walked straight into their house, he had a key, and announced he was moving in permanently. According to Henry, Lillian had been hosting an important dinner party for her law firm partners when Bruce arrived. She completely lost it when she saw him dragging his suitcases through her pristine foyer. She pulled Henry aside and told Bruce to wait in the kitchen. I could hear her yelling in the background during my call with Henry. She had told Bruce he couldn't stay there, her house wasn't set up for another person. They traveled too much for work, and they had plans to renovate the guest rooms into a home office. All the excuses they had been saving up came pouring out at once.
Bruce didn't take it well.
He started bringing up all the promises they had made, the car, his own wing in the house, funding for his future business ideas. Henry tried to explain these were long-term plans, not immediate ones, but Bruce wouldn't listen. He accused Henry of lying to him all these years, of using him to hurt me. Henry tried to calm him down, offering to get him an apartment nearby instead, but that just made things worse. Bruce threw the house key at them and stormed out. No one knew where he went. I was worried sick. I called his phone every hour, but it went straight to voicemail. I called his friends, checked his usual hangouts, even drove by the park where he used to go when he was upset. I couldn't find him. After 2 days, I got a call from Bruce. He said he had been staying with a friend, but now he wanted to come back home. He claimed he'd made a mistake and that things weren't as perfect with Henry and Lillian as he thought. He said he had realized he had been chasing something that wasn't real, but I know he still has a long road ahead of him before he truly understands the consequences of his actions.